Hello guys. So in this video, we will see the topic about what all the topics required for the cloud practitioner exam. So beginning with just wanna starting from how website works. Basically, we have a client. In between, we have a network, and we have a server. So these three components will be having. So where the client have the IP address. So once the client request using this IP address, that request go via network, and from the network, it passes to server, where server also will be having the IP address. So here, the network, what it will do is whatever the destination IP address, right, where the client, the network will take care of this job. All right. So what is server composed of? We'll see. All right. So server is composed of CPU, that is nothing but compute, and RAM, that is memory, storage, that is data, database. So where database store data in a structured way, right? And network. So networks are composed of router, switch, DNS servers, all right? Okay. So we'll see some IT terminologies. Okay. Beginning with network. What is network? Networks are nothing but cables, routers, and servers connected with each other. Okay. Okay. Router. Router is a networking device that forwards a data packet between the computer networks. All right. So they know where to send your packets on the internet. That's the job of routers. All right. And switch. Switch takes a packet and send it to correct server client on your network. All right. Correct server. So this is all about the network, router, computer, switch. All right. Yeah. So let's see what are the problems with traditional IT approach, right? So we pay for the rent for the data center. We'll be having a data center where our data will be stored. We'll be paying rent for that. Okay. We pay for power supply, cooling, maintenance, and adding and replacing hardware takes time, basically maintenance. All right. And scaling is also limited. We can't scale just like that. Here, 24/7 team is monitor the infrastructure. Okay, when you have your own data center, and can we externalize all this? How we can externalize all this? So the solution for all this is cloud, right? Okay, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of computer-powered database storage applications and other IT resources. Basically, it's on-demand delivery of compute power. That is nothing but the computing powers, RAM, etc. Data storage, database to store the data, applications, and other IT resources. Okay. So it gives pay as you go pricing. For example, how much you use, for that much you will pay. All right. Provision exactly the right type and size of computing. So you can provision the exactly right type, whatever required for your application and size of computing, right? Computing for your application. All right. We can access as many resources as you need almost instantly. All right. And simple way to access servers, storage, database, and a set of application services. Okay. So AWS owns and maintains the network connected hardware required for these application services. Okay. While you provision and use what need via web application. So basically, this all provided from any cloud providers. That is nothing but AWS. Right. So we will see some deployment models in cloud. Okay. I mean, in real IT. Okay. So we have private cloud. Private cloud, something cloud services used by a single organization, not exposed to the public. Security for sensitive applications. Right. It only meets the specific business use cases, business needs. All right. So security for sensitive application also. And here you have your complete control in the private cloud, right? Okay. So here, cloud services used by a single organization, not exposed to the public. Security for sensitive application, meet specific business needs, and complete control you'll be having. Right? So this is private cloud and public cloud. Public cloud resources owned and operated by a third party. Okay, cloud service providers delivered over the internet. For example, AWS. Right? So advantages of cloud computing we will see. Okay, the advantages will go next. Okay, before that we have a topic called hybrid cloud. Okay. Hybrid is okay. You keep some servers on premise services on premises and extend some capability to the cloud. So basically, we control over sensitive assets in your private infrastructure. You keep some sensitive data in the private infrastructure. Okay, some in the cloud. So here it's flexibility and cost effectiveness of public cloud. All right. Okay. We see some characteristics. What are we'll see next? We'll go with the characteristics. Okay. So, so users can provision resources and use them without human interaction from the service provider. Okay. And resources available over the network and can be accessed by diverse client platforms. Okay. Resources available over the internet and can be accessed by diverse client platforms. Right. It's all the resources available over the network and can be accessed by diverse client platforms. Okay. Multiple customers can share the same infrastructure and application with security and privacy. Multiple customers are serviced from the same physical resources. There are multiple customers will use the same infrastructure and same resources. Okay. So here you can automatically and quickly acquire and dispose resources when needed, when you don't need. Okay. And quickly and easily scale based on demand. Okay. Usage is measured. Users pay correctly for what they have used. Okay. Here the usage is measured and users pay correctly for what they have used. Okay. Okay. Let's see some advantages. This is very important, like this trade capital expense or operational expense. Okay. So this is trade capital expense is one of the main advantage of using cloud. Okay. Pay on demand. So you don't need to own any hardware. Okay. Here everything is maintained by the AWS. Reduce total cost of ownership and operational expense. The prices are reduced as AWS is more efficient due to large scale. You'll get discounts, you'll get efficient, price will be reduced. So here you will scale based on actual measured usage. Okay. Increase speed and agility. Stop spending money running and maintaining data centers. Okay. And you go global in minutes, leveraging the AWS global infrastructure. Okay. So what are the problems, solved by the cloud policy? Flexibility. You can change resources types when you need. Cost effectiveness. Pace as you go for what you use. Scalability. Accommodate larger loads by making hardware stronger or adding additional nodes. Okay. Elasticity. So ability to scale out and scale in when needed. Okay. This is elasticity. So basically flexibility means you change resource types when you need. Cost effectiveness, pace as you go for what you use. Scalability means like, okay, accommodate larger loads by making hardware stronger or adding additional loads. Okay. Elasticity means ability to scale out and scale in when needed. See, you can keep in mind that scalability and elasticity are kind of a similar. All right. Yeah. High availability and fault tolerance. So here, built across data centers. Okay. Here, when your services, if one service goes down, the other service get active. That is high availability, every and fault tolerance. Okay. Agility. It is something like rapidly we develop, test, and launch software applications. That is agility. So you keep in this mind that these terminologies will be repeated again and again. Right? Okay. We'll see the types. Okay. What are the types in the cloud we have? That is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Infrastructure as a service is provide building blocks for cloud IT, provide networking, computers, data storage, space, and highest level of flexibility. See, easy parallel with traditional on-premise IT. Example, okay, infrastructure as a service. Let me see. Example, AWS EC2. Okay. In the cloud, we have a EC2 machine. It's something like your hardware where you will run it's something like a server, right? Okay. The GCP also you have, Azure also you have, Rackspace, DigitalOcean, etc., etc. Okay. Platform as I said. Here you will remove the need for your organization to manage the underlying infrastructure. Here you don't need to like look into infrastructure. Just what you do, you focus on the deployment and management of your application. Okay. You provided with a platform, where you have to just and develop your application and just deploy. So infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider. For example, focus on deployment and management of your application. Example, okay, Elastic Beanstalk. It's in AWS, Heroku, GCP, Windows, Azure. Yeah. We'll see software as a service. Okay, software is a completed product that is run managed by the service providers. Complete software is provided to you. You use it. Okay. Many AWS services we have. Okay, for example, recognition for machine learning. Okay, and Google Apps, Dropbox, Zoom, Gmail. These all the software as a service. Okay, okay. Pricing of the cloud bills. These are the terminologies. Compute means pay for compute time. Storage means pay for data stored in the cloud. Okay, storage means they pay for data stored in the cloud. Okay, data transfer out of the cloud, data transfer in is always free. Okay, in the AWS, data transfer in is free, out is costed. Okay, okay. Regions we'll see. We have regions, availability zones. Okay, each regions has multiple availability zones. For example, minimum is 3 and maximum is 6. Okay, and edge locations. Also, we have local zones also. So these edge location, local zones, availability zones are like, okay, you can keep the top in the umbrella regions. Under regions, you have availability zones. Under edge zones, you have edge locations. Under edge locations, you have locations. These are the points where if you want to access data, very um, nearby, to reduce the latency. So you go with the availability zone, edge location, all this. Okay, and okay. Now we'll go with the topics, guys. Okay. First, we'll begin with IAM. IAM. IAM is not okay. Identity access management. All right. So it basically we'll discuss about the user groups, policies, roles, and responsibilities. Right. Basically, the permissions. We will discuss all about those. All right. Okay. Begin with users. Users are nothing but mapped to a physical user as who has a password for AWS console. Right? Who has a user who has a password to log in. Users. Groups. Groups are which contains users only. Under groups, okay. You have a two users. If you have a group, okay. In that group, you have two users. Right? Policies. Policies are nothing but a JSON document that outlines permission for user or groups. JSON document that outlines permission for users or group. Okay. For these users or groups, using policies, I can provide a permission. Okay. These user are permitted to do this. This group is permitted to do this operation. This user, this or this groups are permitted to do this kind of uh, operations or anything in the AWS. This is nothing but policies. Using policies, we can do. Okay. Roles. Roles are okay. We taken one example. Okay. For EC2 instance or AWS services, I want to provide some permission. Okay. Using roles, I can do that. These are nothing but roles. Okay. We'll see what is security. Security is nothing but, okay. Consider, take an example of multi-factor authentication plus password policy. This is something like security. You are adding to your any services. Okay. This is multi-factor authentication plus password. Okay. If it is security, keep in mind, okay, multi-factor authentication or password policy. It's a additional security to your users or services, whatever you develop, etc. Right? AWS CLI. This is this will manage your AWS services using the command line. Okay, using this AWS CLI, you know, you can access your AWS services using command line. For which, okay, you need the user's key and secret. So via CLI, you can access the AWS services from your command line. Okay. SDK. What is AWS SDK? It will manage your AWS services using a programming language. Okay. For example, you are a developer. You're developing code via Node.js. Okay. Okay. But you have to interact with the AWS, right? So with Node.js, manage your AWS services. You want to access the AWS services using a programming language. Using Node.js, you have to access the AWS services. So how you can do that? So AWS SDK will help you to do that. Okay? Yeah. Simple. Access keys. So access keys are nothing but access AWS using the command line interface or SDK. As I told you before, access AWS using the CLI or SDK. All right. Okay. Audit. IAM credential reports and IAM access advisor. Audit is something like we use to basically audit is a service where you use it to, okay, IA to get the IAM credential reports and IAM access. Okay. Here the IAM credential report list all your accounts, users, and the status of their various credentials. Okay. So the other IAM security tool is IAM Access Advisor. It shows the service permissions granted to a user and when those services were last accessed. Okay. Just a moment, guys. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So basically, this to audit, so we have two services. That is IAM credential reports and IAM access advisor. Okay. So IAM credential report list all your accounts, users, and status of their various credentials. Okay. The other IAM security tool is IAM access advisor. Okay. It shows the service permissions granted to a user. Okay. And when the services were last accessed. Okay, for this service, um, when is the last permission provided, and when the services is last accessed, and for the credential, we have the credential report. All right, for audit. Okay. Now we'll jump to EC2 topic. Okay. So EC2 instance is something like, okay, it's composed of AMI, Amazon machine. Okay, it's basically something like operating system. Okay, so server is composed of operating system plus instance size. Instance is something like, okay, RAM, CPU. Okay, so basically servers are composed of what? Operating system, CPU, RAM, storage, and firewalls. These, right? So here also in EC2 instance, it's composed of AMI, that is something like operating system, and plus instance size, that's something like CPU plus RAM, and storage plus security groups plus EC2 user data. Okay, what is security groups? Security groups are firewall attached to the EC2 instance. Okay. It's a firewall. Security groups, okay, if you think security group, keep in mind security group is firewall. Okay, what is user data? EC2 user data. Okay, whenever your machine launches, right? So you give the script, certain script. Okay, this script launched at the first start of the instance. That might be like to install the web server, and so these kind of things you will put in that user data. Whenever you launch an instance, that it will boot. Okay, SSH. What is SSH? Okay, you start a terminal into our EC2 instance, for example, like, okay, port 22. So if I want to access that instance, via SSH, you can do that via port 22. Something like you start a terminal into our EC2 instances. If you wanna access that EC2 instances via terminal using SSH, you via that port 22, you can access that EC2 instance. Simple as it is. All right. Okay. What is EC2 instance role? Something like, okay, EC2 instance role is linked to IAM roles. As I told you before, roles. Roles are something like if you wanna access the EC2 instance, some permissions or provide permissions, to the EC2 instance, where the roles will come in picture. Okay. We will see some purchasing options for this EC2 instance. Okay. What we have? On demand. On demand is coming and, for example, okay, in I have made a note like, so you will understand in very uh, basic. Okay, on demand is, for example, okay, I come and staying in resort whenever we like. We pay for the full price. Whenever you need something, I'll go and I pay for it. Full price. That is on demand. Okay. Reserved or something. Okay. It's like planning ahead. And if you plan to stay for a long time, keep this in mind. If you want anything for a long time, you will may get a discount. So then you go for reserved. Keep in mind, if it's long time, if it is long time, and if you want a discount, you go for reserved. Savings plan is, okay, in real world example, okay, pay a certain amount per hour for a certain period and stay in any room in that hotel only. Okay, you pay a certain amount per hour for certain period, that is saving plan, and stay in any room. Example, king suit. See, okay, you're provided with certain period of time, but you can use any resources. I mean, like any resources, sorry. You can in EC2, you can go with any size, whatever operating system you need, whatever instance RAM size you need, you can go with any, but it's for a particular period of time. Okay. So what I'll discuss on demand means when you need, you go and pay full price and reserve is for if you decide for a long time and you will get discount. Savings is for particular period of time and you are provided a privilege to use any, that is a savings plan. Okay, next, spot instances. Spot instances is okay, we're having let's have this restaurant example only. Okay, okay, the hotel allows people to bid for the empty rooms and the highest bidder keeps the room. You can get kicked out at any time. Okay, similarly in EC2 also it is something like okay, this instances you can use, but you don't know, there are some instances you can use, but you don't know when that instance will be used by any other. Okay, that is spot instances. It's like okay, for spot instances is something like it's like a temporary. You can go with spot instances, all right? But you don't know that when it will go from your hand, all right? Okay. Keep this in mind. Dedicated hosts are nothing but we book an entire building of the resort. Something like oh that entire EC2 instances for you. It's dedicated host, dedicatedly for you. And capacity reservation. You book a room for a period with a full price, and even if you don't stay in it, you will just own it. Capacity reservation. You book a room for a period with full price, even if you don't use it. Even if you don't using the EC2, it should not be, but like you're fully, like you are buying it. Yeah. Hmm. Just a moment. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a moment. I made a blender. Oh. Yeah. So we'll go with EC2 instance storage. What is this EC2 instance storage? Okay. So in EC2 EC2 instance storage, we have EBS volume. EBS volumes are okay. We finished here and we are coming back. Okay. Just to yeah, we'll discuss about the EC2 instance storage now. Okay. First, instance storage or something like okay. Yeah, we'll understand about the EBS volumes. Okay. These are network drivers that attach you to one EC2 instance at a time. Okay, which are mapped to an availability zones. Can use EBS snapshots for backups, transferring EBS volumes across availability zone. Okay, these are network drives attached to one EC2 instance at a time. These are network drives attached to EC2 instance at a time. Okay, which are mapped to availability zone. And we can use EBS snapshots for backups, transferring EBS volumes across availability zone. We also can use this EBS in across availability zones. All right. Yeah. Next, we will see what is this AMI. I told you before that is operating system. So here AMI is something like you create ready to use EC2 instance with our customization. All right, ready to use EC2 instance is something like, okay, you already created a template of EC2 instance which is already ready. Okay, whenever you want with proper operating system, CPU, RAM, everything you have did. That is something AMI. Ready to use EC2 instance with our customization, right? Okay, what is EC2 image builder? So here the EC2 automatically build, test and distribute AMIs. It will build, automatically build and test and distribute AMIs. Image builder means keep in mind that AMIs build and test, distribute AMIs, right? Yeah. EC2 instance store. What is EC2 instance source? High performance hardware disk attached to our EC2 instance. Lost if our instance is stop terminated. EC2 instance store is something like high performance hardware disk attached to our EC2 instance. Okay, keep in mind this EBS volumes are network drives attached to one EC2 instance at a time. These are network drives. EC2 instance storage, high performance hardware disk, high performance hardware disk attached to our EC2 instance. Okay, data is lost, if our instance is stopped or terminated. Okay, next we'll go with EFS. What is EFS? Okay, network file system. These are network file system can be attached to thousands of instances in a region. EFS or network file system can be attached to thousands of instances in a thousands of instances in a region. Network file system can be attached to thousands of instances in a region. That is EFS. Okay. EFS IA. So this cost optimized storage class for infrequent access files. Okay. Infrequent access files. Infrequent. Okay. When you go for EFS IA, whenever if your data is accessed infrequently, so then you go for EFS IA. When you go for EFS, a network file system can be attached to thousands of instances in a region. So thousands or hundred of instances in a region. Whenever you are using thousands or hundred of instances, then you go for EFS, network file system. When if you are access the data infrequently, then you go for EFS IA. Keep this in mind. So FS6 for Windows means network file system for Windows Server. FSX for Ledger means high performance computing Linux file system. Okay. So Ledger is for Linux, Ledger is for Linux, Windows is for Windows file system, network file system, and Linux file system. All right. So this is all about uh, EC2 instance. Just I'm gonna uh, repeat the EC2 instance once more. EC2 instance are nothing but operating system, CPU, storage, security groups, user data. Security group means firewall. EC2 instance role means link. These are the role like you are giving to uh, EC2 instance, and we have purchasing option that is on demand, reserved, savings plan, spot instance, dedicated host, and capacity reservation. And we When we discuss about EBS volumes, EBS non-famous or network trace attached to one EC2 instance at a time. Rapid availability zone can use a snapshot for backup, transferring ABS volume successor. AMI is something like we can customize your EC2. EC2 image builder is when you want to build and test your AMIs. EC2 instance store is high performance hard drive disk attached to our EC2 instance. EFS is network file system that attach it to thousands of if you are using thousands of instances. EFSIS, if you are, it's also network file system where you have infrequent access data. FSS for Windows is for network file system for Windows, and Ledger is for Linux. Okay, yeah, okay. We'll go with elastic load balancing and auto scaling groups. We'll see. Okay, what is this elastic load balancing? Hmm, okay, you have okay. We'll see first what is vertical scaling, what is horizontal scaling, and what is high availability, what is scalability, elasticity, agility. So these things first before going to elastic load balancer and auto scaling group. Vertical scaling is we increase instance size. Keep in mind instance size. Whenever you see vertical scaling, vertical, vertical means okay, we are increasing the size. Okay, for example, I have a EC2 instance of P2.nano, which is of 0.5 GB of RAM and one CPU. Okay, I want to do scaling vertically. What do I do? I will scale it to higher version, you know, 12.3 TB of RAM I will use, 448 V CPU I will use, and U12 TB1 dot metal I will use. This is like I'm what scaling vertically. Keep in mind, vertical scaling means you are increasing the size of any EC2 instance. Okay. Horizontal scaling, increase number of instances. Okay. So scale up or scale down. You can use vertical scaling. Up, down. Up, down means scale up, scale down means vertical scaling. And horizontal scaling means scale out, scale in. Or okay, vertical means up, down, size. Horizontal scaling means out in number, increasing the number of instances. Okay, for example, in the vertical scaling, you have one instance. In that instance, you want to increase in that one instance only to make that EC2 instance better. Okay, but in the horizontal scaling, you adding one more instance additionally. That is number of instance, scale out, scaling. Okay, okay. Horizontal scaling, we have two things. That is auto scaling group, load balancer. Okay, we will see what is auto scaling group and load balancer. But keep in mind, whenever you see auto scaling, horizontal scaling, number, scale out scaling, and load balancer and auto scaling group, horizontal scale, number. Okay, yeah, high availability. Run instances for the same application across multiple availability zone. Here, we run the instance for the same availability, same application across multiple availability zone. Across multi available. So we run the instance for the same application so that your application will be always high availability. Okay, we have auto scaling group, multiple availability zone also, load balancer, multi availability zone also. Keep this in mind. Okay. Okay, what is wheels key? Now the scalability. What is scalability? Ability to accommodate a larger load by making the hardware stronger. That is scale up, or by adding node. That is scale out. Okay. So I told you scale up means what? Vertical scaling, and scale out means horizontal scaling. These both are something like you make the hardware stronger by adding more size or number to that hardware so that the hardware become more strong. All right, this is scalability. Okay, what is elasticity? Okay, once a system is scalable, elasticity means that there will be some auto scaling so that the system can scale based on the load. This is cloud friendly, pay per use, match demand, optimize cost. Okay, by elasticity, you can do it automatically. Whatever I said, this vertical scaling, horizontal scaling, everything. So by the concept of elasticity, you no need to do manually. Automatically you can do. That is nothing but elasticity. So to do this, we have a service called auto scaling group. Okay, and load balancer. Okay. So elasticity means keep in mind automatically to scale the hardware. So by doing this, we will pay per use, match demand, and optimize. You can optimize the cost. Agility. What is agility? See, it's not related to scalability. Okay. But agility also you have to know it's a new IT resources or only a click away. Okay, which means that you reduce the time to make those resources available to a developer from weeks to just minutes. In just minutes, you will they will get everything. New IT resources in just minutes are available. Click away. When means that okay, if they need any IT resources, agility is you can quickly get. You can make the resources available to your developer from weeks to just minutes. Okay. Okay. What is high availability versus scalability? And also keep in mind versus elasticity and agility in the cloud. So these all things you just go through it. Okay. High availability means you deploy your resources in multiple availability zones so that like, it's always available. Scalability basically vertical means size, increasing the size. Horizontal means increase the number. Elasticity means like do this scalability automatically. That is elasticity, and agility like uh, you will get the IT resources quickly. That's it. Right? Available to the developers. Okay. I told you load balancer and auto scaling. What is this? And the scalability. Okay. Elastic. Okay. We have different kinds of load balance. One by one, we will see. First, we'll go with elastic load balancers. So here in the elastic load balancer, it will distribute traffic across EC2 instances, can be multiple availability zone, supports health checks. Four types are there. Okay. Classic, that is a old. Now we are not using that, I believe. And the application which supports HTTP, which works on layer 7 HTTP, and network that is works on TCP uh, layer 4 and gateway and the layer 3. So we have application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer, and classic load balancer. Application, network, gateway, classic. Okay. So just a moment, guys. Just a moment. Hello. Hi, Swapna. Nothing, nothing. Hello. Just a moment, guys. I'll be back. Just a moment.
What happened then when I asked what? Hello, nothing, nothing, nothing. What happened? And then you start
Just take it. And she that they were doing some compensation for the pay.
what? Foreign?
No, no, no. Will not go any further.
What you tell me?
That last week, Monday, I worked with her. But Monday, I actually have a holiday pay. I
Good.
just think about to get a holiday pay.
Huh.
But on the day, on that day only,
Yes.
so they have the some issue. Where that like holiday pay, you know, we will give, but yes, we will like
Giving you 1 day extra pay.
something like that 6 hours something she said. I don't know. Exactly, I said like I don't want to hear it. They said okay, don't want to. Let me get like I don't want to even train. So I said okay.
Yes. What is it? You think? How do you like it?
Okay.
It's very healthy. Nothing else than Suji and oat. Penny. I was thinking to keep this better and give it to or should we?
If you do like this, we don't have any point to tell about bad about it.
Whenever we are at home, I'm making a special dish for you.
I will tell you that at home.
Every day when we are, I'm not that aloo paratha, whatever aloo paratha, they don't like still the basin applied to remember. Then like you said, it's very hurting for me that I'm not doing anything. Then we are. Try also. Okay, now you have eaten your food, go to the house and do the and that is not important. Not if I am doing revision. That is fine, but if there is any problem. Yes, she did. What? She said she will call. Yes. She didn't call it same. She said once she free. I'm also taking. Yes. Already discussed. Ah, yeah. Maybe my body is. No, 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 no. Okay, I think but thinking to keep them better for people. Do you think so? No, you tell me. Or we can have another because it cannot be kept for so long because I have the there is soda in it. But try it. Maybe not. My mother never used to put anything which has soda. You give me. I'm not gonna stop. That's I think it's the way to know me. You can that is. You know how things are actually not getting the things which they used to get back in India. How are you? No, I can't see it. Why I see and it's so not what mean serious? Yeah. Who is not the lady? Very I don't know. You are not very, very very. Not a life is better or good job, man. That's nice. That finds problem. And that did you know how much? You have seen every part of it. I know this. But you real baby have not. A problem that you relationship with. See every ugly thing, every what? See. Hello. சொல்லுங்க. இது எனக்கு phone பண்ணி டீ ரெடியா? Please put idli and tea. But we do not have chutney, huh? This one. We have no this one. It will prepare idli. Huh? Do idli and keep it. Now it's okay. Okay. I'm going to Vijay after half a month. Food. I don't know how to make this. It's very heavy. You can take on daily basis. How much water? How much water is there? This much or more? is actually wet. You need to clean it. I don't know how it will be, but we are experimenting. But the smell is good, right? Cheetah is no fire. No, cheetah is not good. Those are very thin, you know. Cheetahs are not thin. Tell me, and I got only on the bedroom and there. Don't just call my name. So, you don't know how.